Now that we have your attention, let's talk about the Civil War. Not battles or generals or anything like that. The weapons.
There are many different kinds of weapons used in the Civil War, from rifles to pistols to artillery and some other ones.
We're here at Gettysburg where Pickett's charge started. They went about over there where they got shot up by the Union.
Virginians! Virginians! With me! Who will come with me? Go boy!
Can I hold the sword?
No.
Aww.
Alright, first up we have the Spencer repeating carbine, originally invented by Christopher Spencer, manufactured by Spencer Arms Co., manufactured from 1860 to 1869. The 52 caliber. You would load a tubular magazine in the buttstock, which would make the bullets, or what in those times they called cartridges, into the mechanism that has a spring, and you cock the hammer back, the bullet will go up here, and you pull the trigger and the bullet will go out and kill somebody. And that's how it worked. Also got your iron sights up here. It was originally scrapped by the Ordnance War Department, and because they said that soldiers would waste bullet because it was a 7-shot repeater. But then Christopher Spencer got an audience with Abraham Lincoln to show him the weapon, and Abraham Lincoln was like, "Sign me up."
The Springfield Model 1861. Got me a spoon. Springfield Model 1861. It was a rifled barrel and fired mini bullets. It was muzzle loaded, as you can see right here, and it was the first weapon to have iron sights, and it had great accuracy compared to other rifles. About 1 million of them were made between 1861 and 1873 by the Springfield Armory, and it was the most widely used weapon of the war. You reloaded the gun by placing a mini bolt in, and you had your gunpowder and all that, and you ramrodded it in. You can see where I ramrodded here. You cocked the hammer back, and you pulled the trigger to fire.
Third up, we have the Henry repeating rifle, originally invented by B. Tyler Henry, manufactured by New Haven Arms Co. It had a special caliber made for the .44 Henry cartridge, and it also had a tubular magazine, just like the Spencer repeating, but it was reloaded from around here where the mechanism was, which is also very similar to the Spencer repeater. And so you cocked that, you did the lever, bam, and then you pulled the trigger and you shot it out, and unless you were a bad shot, you hit somebody. And this had 15 shots, unlike most repeaters at the time, or like the Spencer repeater, which had a 7-shot. Also has iron sights right there. You can see that.
The Samuel Colt revolving carbine was made by Samuel Colt from 1856 to 1864. It featured a 6-shot revolving barrel, which would be reloaded with paper cartridges and fired by pulling the hammer back and pulling the trigger. It was a great gun that both sides used.
Alright, up here we got the Colt Army Revolver 1861. It was called that because it was manufactured from 1861 to about 1873. Invented by Samuel Colt, who invented all the Colt revolvers. That's why they're called Colt revolvers, because his last name is Colt. Because you couldn't figure that out. You reloaded it mostly like a musket. First, you pop this little cylindrical thing out. And then in each slot, you put in your gunpowder, your musket bullet, or your conical tipped bullet. And you spun it for drama, because that looks cool. Didn't have to, but it looked cool. You put it back in, you cock the hammer, and you pull the trigger. Out goes the bullet. There's about 200,000 manufactured. You can also use paper cartridges to reload it.
The Lamette pistol. It was a 9-chamber revolver that also had a second barrel for smoothbore buckshot, making it a revolver as well as a shotgun. It was made by the London Armory from 1856 to 1865. And it had a second hammer, as you can see right here, to switch between regular revolver and shotgun. I don't know why I'm not using sword. It reloaded just like any other revolver. You pull the hammer, sling the cylindrical bit out right here, put all in your either bullets or paper cartridges. You put it back in, spin it for a dramatic effect, and then you pull the trigger to fire. The Remington 1858 revolver. It was made by Remington Arms from 1862 to 1875, and about 230,000 of them were made. It was a single-shot percussion revolver, and it had a cylinder barrel that had 6 shots. Either ball and powder or paper cartridges could be loaded in, and you pulled the hammer back, and you pulled the trigger to fire. It had a very fast reload speed, as most soldiers carried a separate cylinder with like a reloaded cylinder with more cartridges in, so you could kind of just put the barrel out, put your new cylinder in, put the barrel back in. You didn't have to reload every cartridge or ball individually.
So first cannon we got is the 24-pounder howitzer, manufactured from 1841 to 1863. It was manufactured in Austria and bought by people in the U.S. for military use. It was a smooth bore cannon. It weighed 2,443 pounds, and it needed 6 horses to be pulled. It was eventually replaced by the Napoleon cannons, which most howitzer cannons were, at least in the Union, and it could be loaded with a grape shot, regular cannonball, or artillery shot.
The 12-pounder Napoleon gun was made somewhere in France, 1853. About 1,700 of them were made. It was made of bronze and used a 4-man crew. It was very good at close range. The way you reloaded it was, you took a shell and your gunpowder. You put the shell and the gunpowder in and ramrodded it in. Then, you used a little fuse right up here, and when you pulled the fuse out, it went off.
So our first sword is the U.S. model 1832 Dragoon Saber, first manufactured in 1834 by N.P. Ames. Has a wood core with a leather grip and dragoon wire. Little yellow kind of line looking things right there. It had a single-edged 34-inch slightly curved blade. It was modeled off the British 1820 light cavalry saber. It was mostly used by cavalry units in the Civil War called dragoons, but it was also used by regular cavalry units. It was eventually replaced by the 1840 heavy cavalry saber, which is and the old wrist breaker.
The 1832 foot artillery sword was made 1832, and it was issued to infantry sergeants and music players. It was a 25-inch short sword. It was based off the Roman gladius, and it wasn't much use in combat. However, it was very useful to cut a path. There were a lot of new realities in the Civil War, from paper cartridges to revolvers to carbines.
Yeah, stuff like that. Fortunately, they did stop using sabers and knives, things like that, which saddens me. Might not sadden other people, but I like those kinds of weapons.
Speaking of swords, can I hold that sword?
No! Okay, so third up, we got the Henry repeating rifle, originally invented by P. Tyler. Third up, we have the Henry repeating rifle, originally invented by B. Tyler Henry, manufactured by the son of a